When I saw the premise of this readathon and it was just read 24 out of 48 hours, I was like, awesome, this is gonna be so much fun. Lying around on the couch all weekend reading is like my ultimate fantasy weekend. But it turns out reading for this long is really freaking hard, guys. This is tiring. This is the most tiring weekend I have had in ages. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. Normally, I would never be up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, much less often 7 a.m. on a workday now that we're working from home, but I'm very excited to be doing the 24 in 48 readathon this weekend. I can't remember off the top of my head who the organizers are, but I will link all of their information down below as well as all of the information about the readathon, because from what I know, it happens like twice a year usually, so there'll be another one coming up before too long. Basically, it's a pretty simple concept. Between 12 a.m. Wait, I'm so bad at midnights. From the start of Saturday through the very end of Sunday, for 48 hours, you try and read for 24 out of those hours. Right now, that seems like scary but doable. Like I said, it's 7 a.m. I've just gotten up. I want to get a good start on and try and get a bit more than half of the reading done today so that hopefully tomorrow will be a bit easier. I've been standing here debating whether I should introduce all the books I plan on reading or reading part of, because I don't anticipate finishing a lot of books this weekend. If I had more books that I was currently reading, I would try and power through them. But I think for me, 24 hours of reading is going to require some variety. Like, I don't think I'm someone who can read 12 hours of one book in a weekend. I think I want 4 hours out of 6 books type thing. So there's gonna be a lot of starting. You guys know that my vlogs are always chaotic and full of like way too many books for a 2-day period. Well, this is gonna be no different. And every minute I stand here debating whether or not I should introduce my non-physical stack of books is a minute that I am not getting started with my reading. It's already 7:06. I'm supposed to be doing this. I've got to read until like at least 9:06 now, which is a lot of reading today. And that probably won't be continuous. So anyways, let's just get into it. The first book is one I'm actually going to listen to. It is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. This is about the large-scale migration of Black Americans from the southern US to the northern US in, I think, like the post-World War I through 70s-ish, I think, where basically, I think Blurb said something like 6 million people moved north in search of a better life. And the author has actually been able to go back and interview some of those people who were still alive or get access to new data to learn about them and to learn about their experiences. This is a hugely long audiobook. I think it's something like 22 hours, but it sounds amazing, and I find long books so much less intimidating when they're audiobooks. I want to introduce you really quickly before we start to a spread I made in my bullet journal. People who film your bullet journal, how do you do this? I've got a spread on this side to track how many hours I've read. I'm going to color that in what was my code? Purple for ebook, pink for audiobook, and blue if I read any comics or graphic novels. Figure that way at the end I can like count up like, oh, I read, 16 hours of ebook and 3 hours of audiobook or whatever. Thought that would be cool to be able to track. Then I've also I made like a little table, and I'm going to put in the chapter where I'm starting each book, and then I can track throughout the readathon. If I read 4 chapters of one, I can update the count so that at the end I can also see how many chapters of each book that I read. And then on the other side, I've got a vlog tracker, because usually when I film vlogs, I spend the whole time going, oh my god, I'm not filming anything. I'm not going to have any footage and this isn't going to make any sense. And then I sit down to edit and have like an hour of footage. So I figured this way, like I'm going to put in like, oh, I filmed on hour 0 and I think I'm doing purple for check-in and pink for B-roll here. And then like I can write what I filmed so that hopefully throughout the course I can like look at this and go, oh shoot, it's been 4 hours since I checked in. I should update. Or, oh man, I haven't filmed any B-roll in a while. Anyways, this is something we might be seeing updated throughout the readathon. Hopefully I will actually make time to fill this in a bit and not get too distracted. Alright, checking in after 2 hours. I listened to an hour and a half of The Warmth of Other Suns while cleaning the kitchen and having a shower. Already I can tell this is going to be an incredible book. The writing is so amazing and moving and just fantastic. So I'm so excited to keep listening to that later. For the last half hour now, I've been just working on one of the ebooks that I'm reading, which is Le Parfum by Suskind. I was about halfway through that when I started this vlog. I've been rereading it. It is, however, a reread where I had apparently forgotten the entire middle section. Like, I have a pretty good sense of what's coming at the end, and I remembered what happened at the beginning, but this stuff in the middle is not how I remember it. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like I'm still discovering new things in it. I think now, though, I'm going to take a break because I want to try and make sure that I'm switching up often so that I don't get too burnt out, and I have to decide what I want to read next. I have 3 other main books that I'm thinking about. I want to start Singin and Swingin and Gettin Merry Like Christmas by Maya Angelou. That's the 3rd in her series of autobiographies. I'm 3 chapters into The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, and I want to continue that because I'm doing it for a buddy read with Katie of Katie Reads and Rants, and I'm so excited about it, and I think I'm going to get totally sucked in. That is a mystery with possible, like, fantastic elements, I think. I'm not totally sure. And then I also want to start The Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas. This is a romance novel and comes highly recommended, so I'm looking forward to trying that. And I'm gonna go make myself a cup of tea and I guess quickly figure out which of those I should read next. I don't know if this progress right now is encouraging or distressing, given that it is already lunchtime on Saturday, but I've got 4 hours read. You know how I started today by saying that I was going to try and vary what books I was reading often so that I wouldn't get too bored or too tired out? Well, that completely went out the window. I started reading Singin and Swingin and Gettin Merry Like Christmas by Maya Angelou at around 10 o'clock, I think. I read 2 hours straight. I was so caught up. I didn't want to stop at all. I thought maybe after lunch I would try something different. Well, I've now taken a 15-minute break, prepared some lunch, and I'm about to eat it. I'm just like, well, I could read something different, or I could just keep reading Maya Angelou. If I'm in the mood for it, shouldn't I stick with it? Combined allure of The Warmth of Other Suns and this beautiful sunny day has me putting down Maya Angelou for just a little while so I can get out and enjoy this while it's still bright and sunny. I can't say that The Warmth of Other Suns is delightful because nothing that describes these topics could ever be described as delightful, but it is incredibly moving and informative and just, if difficult, so worthwhile feeling to read. It's making me take the time to sit with things I knew, both because it's an audiobook and because it's quite long and descriptive, and also a really fitting thing to read alongside Maya Angelou because I hadn't thought about it before because I'm just starting to learn about the Great Migration. She was part of that. Like, the movements that her family did and that she herself went through are part of this period of history. So that's just so interesting to think about, and I'm so glad I happened to pick them up at the same time because otherwise I might not have made that connection, I think. I'm back on the couch. I feel like you guys are going to see this angle so much this weekend. Sorry for the lack of diversity, but it's a really comfy spot and I can look out the window and be all cozy on my couch, so I'm going to stay here. I've just finished Singin and Swingin and Gettin Merry Like Christmas by Maya Angelou, which was incredible. Clearly, it threw off all of my plans to alternate what I was reading today because I just had to keep reading it and I didn't want to stop. I feel like I need more time to think about it to like formulate proper thoughts, so hopefully I'll have some time to do that next week and write up a nice little review for my wrap-up. This one was interesting though. It's her autobiography of the period in the 50s when she was working in entertainment, basically. At the beginning of the book, she gets a job as a dancer at a strip club, not actually stripping, but like close enough, and then ends up making her way into the point where she's working in the chorus of a big all-black opera that's touring Europe. It was just really fascinating. I almost feel like I read this one so fast because it was so interesting that I couldn't put it down, but it meant that I never put it down and I didn't have time to like think about it and formulate thoughts as I went and reflect as I went. So I think the next couple days are going to be really important for that. I have to take a little bit of a break from reading right now because I need to edit the video. Should not have planned to do that this weekend, but it's a whole schedule and I don't want to get behind. So I'm going to take a break and do that, and then rest of the night, I'm going to read. I swear by the time I've edited a video and like watched it back to review and then get it exporting, it always takes so much longer than I think it will. But that's okay, I've got that done, it's exporting, it's on the way. Now it's 5:45 on Saturday. I have read for 17 hours. Sorry, that's totally wrong. It's 5:45 on Saturday, and I have read for 7 hours. I'm hoping to get to at least 12 hours tonight. Ideally, 13 hours tonight. I had an initial hope of 14. That's not looking possible. Let's aim for 13 hours. If I read continuously from now until midnight, I can hit 13 hours. Dinner is on its way. We're ordering takeout tonight, and I'm just gonna put my head down and keep reading. I'm going to jump into The Devil in the Dark Water because I have already started that and I feel like it'll pull me in a bunch. And then if I need a break from that, maybe I'll start Devil in Winter, or should I do it opposite? Nope, no time to deliberate about this. Just go for it. I'm reading Devil in the Dark Water. It's the one I'm really excited about, so I'm gonna dive right in with that. Before I do, I have to show this off because I don't think I have yet. For Christmas, my best friend, who also designed my intro and outro slides and my channel art and stuff, had me custom stickers made with some of the art design stuff that she used. You can tell that there's a reason I didn't do it myself. Anyway, I stuck this pile of books on my Kindle and I love it so much. Well, this is a terrible angle, but you know what? I don't care because I'm too cozy to sit up. I've read for 9 hours today. I'm hoping to get to 12 or maybe even 13 still. So I think I'm going to switch tactics. I've just been reading The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton for the last 2 hours. And it's really good. I'm loving it. It's really interesting. Anyways, I'm going to switch books now just for some varieties because I don't think I want to read the same book for the next 4 hours. I think I want to mix it up a little, and also I have one I want to start. That is The Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas. Despite the similar name, has absolutely nothing in common with The Devil in the Dark Water as far as I know. This one is a romance novel. It comes really highly recommended, and I'm excited to get into that. Thank goodness for emergency cookies in the freezer. Yay! Look, progress is being made. I'm at 11.5 hours. Almost halfway there. That was maybe more excitable than I should have been, but you know what? I'm excited to be making progress. I think I'm at something like 11 hours and 40 minutes now. Switching to The Devil in Winter was absolutely the right choice because getting into something new, and especially a romance, just I got pulled right in, and 3 hours flew by, so that was great. I'm going to get ready for bed now, but I'm hoping that I can read in bed for a while. We'll see. I might just fall asleep. There's a very strong chance, but I'm hoping that if I brush my teeth and wash my face, put some eye drops in, oh my god, my eyes feel so dry, that I will be able to have a little bit more reading time before I pass out, and really hoping to make it till midnight. Is that unreasonable? It shouldn't be unreasonable for a 26-year-old to try and stay up until midnight on a Saturday night. And the stupid thing is, I know if I wasn't trying, it would happen without me even thinking about it. If I wasn't trying to stay up, I'd be awake until midnight just being like, oh man, where did the time go? What happened to the evening? Bad news is that it is already 20 to 8 and I'm very tired. I did not sleep well and I'm just very sleepy, so today might be harder than yesterday. The good news is that I did make it through 12.5 hours yesterday, so I'm slightly past halfway. I only have to do 11.5 hours today, which I guess when you think about it is a full hour less than what I did yesterday, so hopefully that'll be a bit easier. I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna listen to my audiobook for a little while I make some tea for myself and some coffee for Bear, and I don't know, little things around the kitchen to try and move around for a few minutes now that I've just woken up, because I feel like if I sit down right away I might fall asleep again. But then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to focus, and I've got lots of books that I'm excited to get through and I'm excited to see where they go, so hopefully those will really help. I did listen to my audiobook for a little while this morning, but then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna dive back into The Devil in Winter and just finish it. I know I said I wasn't going to finish many books this weekend, but I think I underestimated how much time 24 hours of reading actually is. I'm now at almost 15 hours, and like I said, I've read 2 entire books and made significant progress on several others, so like, that's actually a lot of reading time after all. I'm not going to go into too much detail about my thoughts on Devil in Winter. Not that I've gone into too much detail on my thoughts about any of these books, I don't think. Just because I actually have a video planned that's going to be the next video you guys see. It should come out the Sunday after this video goes live, which is going to be all about that and 2 other romance books that I've been reading, so I don't want to say too much right now. I'm gonna save my thoughts for that video. All I'll say for now is that I totally understand now what people mean when they say that romance sort of pulls you in and sweeps you along with the story. I didn't find myself tiring of the story at all, or going like, oh, I want to put this down and come back to it tomorrow. Every chapter I was sort of like, no, I want to read another chapter, I want to read another chapter. So that was great, and I think that was a perfect choice for this weekend as well. That's where things stand now. It's actually only like 10 o'clock in the morning, so that's pretty great, and it's snowing, so I'm wondering if I might go for my walk now before too much snow accumulates. There really shouldn't be so much discussion of the weather in these reading vlogs, but like, it's all that's going on right now. 17 hours down. Wow, yay! Only 7 hours left. Hey, I might actually finish this. It's, I think it's just before 1 p.m. I've been listening to The Warmth of Other Suns for like 2 hours now while I went for a walk and had a shower and made some lunch and ate some lunch, and that was just, oh my goodness. This is a history of the migration of Black Americans from the southern US to the northern US and the western US in sort of between 1915 and 1970, but framed with a focus on 3 particular individuals who the author interviewed in, I think, the 1990s about their experiences with that migration and their birth and their childhood in the South, why they left. I assume it's going to come to what their experience was once they'd left. And you guys know that I love that style of book. There's something that works so well for me with the combination of general nonfiction history, looking at the overall situation, looking at the social climate, looking at the political climate, all of that sort of stuff, but also telling the story of these individuals at the same time. When I describe it, it's like, yes, of course that would work. It's a great way to communicate both the factual information, but also really hit home with the emotional impact of what was happening. But I don't just want to listen all day, so I think I'm going to start reading The Devil in the Dark Water again. I feel weird about that book because when I'm reading it, I'm obsessed and I can't put it down, and I'm like, I want to know what happens next, I want to know what happens next. But then once I put it down, it's not one that I feel super drawn to pick up again. I'm not sure why yet. We'll see. I'm about a quarter of the way in, and so far it's set up in really interesting ways. A lot of the things you would expect from a mystery seem like they're there, but then they get flipped. I don't want to give too much away because I feel like this is probably a book that's best if you go in not knowing too much. And obviously I don't know everything yet, so maybe when I've finished reading it and I'm reviewing it, I'll be able to say a bit more about what can you say to make someone want to read this book that's really good without spoiling it. I haven't moved at all, but it is in fact 2 hours later now, and I am now at 19 total hours of reading. And also at a bit of a crossroads, honestly. I've reached the halfway point in Devil in the Dark Water, so I'm 39 chapters in, 36 of those read this weekend. They're very, very short chapters, as you can tell, since there's over 80 chapters total. This is the point that Katie and I had agreed to read to before we're going to discuss, because it's a mystery, so that might be fun to discuss at the halfway point and then read the end and discuss again. So I want to stop reading that. Also, I'm kind of tired of it. Remember this morning how I said things are going so much more easily today, and I was like, I thought I was going to be tired and it wasn't actually an issue? Well, that's caught up with me. I'm tired. I want to take a nap. However, I want to get as much reading done this afternoon as possible so that I can hang out with my partner a bit tonight, who I have been sorely neglecting all weekend to just be like, can't talk, reading, can't talk, reading. So we were gonna do stuff tonight, watch TV or something, so I want to get some more reading done now so that I've only got maybe an hour or two to do before bed, and I won't be reading right up until midnight to finish. So I have to figure out what to read next. I don't really feel like starting something new. I think I've almost got a bit of reading fatigue. I know it was Emma from A Cup of Books replied to one of my tweets about this and said that she'd done it a couple of years ago and finished, read some amazing books, but then also not read anything for like a week after the fact. And I believe it, because I'm just feeling sort of like, ooh, and I still got 5 more hours to go. My options are to keep reading the Parfum by Suskind, which I have been reading on and off for a couple weeks now and will continue to dip in and out of. But it's a fairly literary work and I'm reading it in French, and I'm just wondering if I'm gonna put myself straight to sleep if I try and read that. Or I could listen to more of my audiobook, but then I'd have to find something to do because I'm not great at just listening and I'm not sure what I might want to do. Like bake something maybe? I don't know. The Warmth of Other Suns is really incredible and I want to keep listening to it, but also it's like it's really heavy and like serious and heartbreaking stuff, so I don't know if I want to listen to more of that. I did have in my list that I might pick up Nimona, the graphic novel by Noelle Stevenson, and right now that's seeming like the best bet. Maybe if I go have a little change of position, I could lie in bed with it or something and read a graphic novel. Maybe that'll like be a brain break without actually taking a nap. Yeah, I think that's the option to go for. This has been a ramble. Nimona was a delightful brain break and so sweet and so charming and so cute. That was so much fun and exactly what I needed. It's now 20 hours in, there's only 4 hours left, and I'm sort of torn between going like, whew, another 4 hours, and my god, where did the time go? It's not late at all, but I'm really tired now. I think the combination of not sleeping well last night and reading this much is like actually kind of hard on the brain. I don't think I'd thought about that before this, that it was actually going to be tiring to do this, because I mean, I'm just sitting around all weekend reading. Like, that's my ultimate lazy weekend fantasy, but like, this is hard. 22 hours down. I think I'm putting this on the screen and editing, so I don't need to tell you every time, but I'm just so excited because I've read for 22 hours. I ended up picking up Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett because I realized that a easy, fun reread that I know I'm going to enjoy was what I needed at this point. Trying to get into anything complex was not going to work out. It's dinner time now, however, and since I've been a neglectful partner all weekend, I'm going to pause my reading for now, finish it up later in the evening because I've only got 2 hours left. Definitely do that. And Bear and I are going to have some dinner and watch either some TV or a movie. Want to watch something, but I'm indecisive and I don't know what I want to watch, so I'm holding things up right now. It is, of course, Super Bowl Sunday. We don't like football, so we're not going to watch the Super Bowl, but we do like snacks, so Bear has made us a lovely dinner of chicken wings and jalapeno poppers and homemade mozzarella sticks, and I need to choose something so I can eat my dinner before it gets cold, because obviously I can't eat it until I've chosen a movie. Anyway, I should go and do that. Well, that was a much needed brain break and also a great chance to catch up on all of your comments that I've been ignoring all weekend because I've been just like laser focused on reading. That was really fun, but I had to be strong and stop watching The Good Place because it's now 8:30-ish. Got 2 more hours of reading. So clearly very possible. We've got 3.5 more hours tonight. Done with plenty of time. Awesome. Loving this. I'm going to multitask a bit right now because, as I said, Bear made us beautiful dinner, so I'm going to do up all the dishes, get that stuff sorted out while I listen to The Warmth of Other Suns. Then I guess I'll read in bed a bit. That'll be a nice way to end the evening, and I'm not stressed, and I'm not, like, in the run up to midnight. This is awesome. Yay! Look at this. 1 hour left. Just one. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Clearly, I can't even talk, so I'm gonna go put my pajamas on and read for another hour. And guess who just hit 24 hours? Yay! I did it! I feel like I should have some proper thoughts to wrap this up. Okay, let's try and run through things. First, Witches Abroad by Terry Pratchett. Oh my goodness, so much fun! Thing I love so much about Terry Pratchett, which you guys probably know because I probably said this a million times on my channel, but every time I read one of his books again, because I've read this one probably 3 times now, it's probably the 3rd or 4th time I'm reading it, every single time I see new things that I never noticed before or that I'd never understood before, because every time I read one of his books, I have just, more knowledge of the world and more knowledge of, like, literary works and media and pop culture and all of those things that he referenced. So every time I come back, I find new things in his stories, and that also means that I'm reading things and going like, I bet that's a reference to something. I bet that's a reference to something that I don't know about yet, and I'm gonna learn, and next time I read it, I'm gonna know, and I'm gonna go, oh my god, that's so funny. So this is a delight. I'm about halfway through, and I mean, yes, I've hit 24 hours of reading, and let's be real, I'm gonna turn the light off and probably fall asleep in like 5 minutes, but I'm gonna keep reading it right now. Overall, to wrap up sort of the whole weekend type thing, this has been so much fun. When I started this, I had 2 layers of feeling about it. The first top layer, which was like what I was feeling on the surface, was sort of very much like, yeah, 24 hours, that's pretty reasonable. 24 hours and 48. I can do that. I can read for that much time. It's gonna be totally doable. It's gonna be great. But then I had this like little part deep inside that was going, what the fuck have you just signed up for? What are you getting yourself into? Oh my god, is this gonna be way too much? Is this gonna be miserable? Like, is this a good idea? Just so dumb. It's a readathon. Like, if it wasn't fun, I could just stop. And honestly, my surface layer was totally right, and my gut fears were totally wrong. This was so much fun. I spent so much time reading that I normally wouldn't. Obviously, I don't want to read this much every weekend. I think there's a lot of other stuff I would have liked to do, and also I sort of feel like, whoa, where did the weekend go? Because when you only do one thing all weekend, it sort of flies by, but I'll definitely be doing this next time they run it. I'm so glad that I happened to see this readathon a week or 2 ago, because I didn't even know about it that far in advance. I was just like, oh, that sounds cool. That also sounds like I can just read books that I was already planning on reading, and oh my goodness, I'm just so excited about it. Also, I'm really tired right now because it has been, in a weird way, a long weekend. I just said flew by, but like, I don't know. Honestly, it's been so different to most of my weekends in the last year, which I know I was just at home reading, which is what I've been doing a lot for the last year, but somehow it just felt really like a change, and that was so needed. Okay, enough rambling. Let me know down below in the comments. Have you guys ever tried a challenge like this? Have you ever thought about it? Are you interested? Does it sound like your version of hell? Would you guys be interested in doing it next time around? Let's talk about this sort of thing. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.